fans love to see comedians together, right? And they go, oh my God, this guy is so funny. That guy is so funny. They're going to get together. They're going to laugh. They have the best time. I want to be in the presence of these two guys. They're cracking so many jokes. Now, in reality, I want you to know, when most comedians get together, they're not laughing the whole time. As a matter of fact, they're having very deep conversations. Welcome to another episode of Wild Truth. I have a very special guest, not just any guest, not someone from the States, not somebody from anywhere close, but all the way from India.
Yes, that's true.
Zakir Khan in the house.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to have me on the podcast. I'm very excited right now.
Thank you, buddy. I'm so happy that we can have this chat. Why? Why am I so happy to have this chat? Zakir and I recently connected on social media.
Yes.
We had a small chat. Hey, love your work. Let's get to know each other. Sounds amazing. Let's do this. Is incredible. Then we connected at LAX. Both landed in the same terminal on the same day from two different cities. Okay, cool. And we met. Now, up to this part, what a great fun scenario.
Right. It's very romantic right now.
Very romantic. It was very romantic. But as the romance was sort of evolving, we realized we talk about so many amazing life things, work stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I looked at Zakir and I said, buddy, I wish we could, do a podcast so we can share a lot of this conversation with our friends and family and fans and allow people in to your world, to my world, in this beautiful connection. So I'm going to give you my first impression.
Yes.
First impression when I saw you.
Okay.
Okay? And then first and foremost, I saw you at the airport. You came up, big smile. Immediately, I just felt like, this guy is super easy to talk to, right? Like it was instant, as if we knew each other for like 20 years. But the best thing about you, in my opinion, is how personable you are. You're so personable. You're immediately so open to share. And that makes you so likable, man. So likable.
And so goes for you. At the time when I met you at the airport, it was so comfortable meeting you. I think it comes over years. When you are more comfortable with yourself, you are sure of your own space. And that is when you can allow other people in. Or you can take them in your realm, in your universe with comfort. I think that's my new learning if I reach to this year in 2024, that feeling secure is like a superpower. So I feel very secure in my space right now, wherever I am. And that just makes me so much comfortable around everybody, around human beings. It just helps me chat so much. It helps me connect with people, talk to random strangers. I know they can judge me. They can judge me. They can disrespect me. But a random pedestrian cannot decide how I feel about myself. And I feel great about myself. And that's the beginning of being warm and open and ready to listen to others. Yes. So I think that comes from there.
Yes.
And I think it's also how you made me feel at that point. If you were somebody who was very uptight and not very open, I don't think so. It cannot open. A bridge cannot be opened from one side. For the traffic to move, it has to be open from both the sides.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right about that. And also, let me actually do one more thing. And because a lot of my fans that are watching this show that are being introduced to Zakir, I really want to do a proper introduction as far as who you are, what your background is. Zakir comes from a family of artists. And he's a very talented musician. And as he was growing up in the world of music, he started doing stand-up. And stand-up, it was just his calling. He just felt one day, I got to do stand-up comedy. And the next thing is history. Now, in order to put this in perspective, Zakir is a comedian who sells worldwide to massive numbers of his fan base. He just, he met me at LAX, just flew in from San Jose, and I go, hey buddy, how was the show last night? Oh, it was great. How many seats? And he goes, 9,000, as if it's just another day. 9,000. I go, what? I said, you sold 9,000 seats in San Jose, California? He's like, yeah, it was great.
It's just
unbelievable. Yeah. He's selling, correct me if I'm wrong, you sold 17,000 seats in Toronto?
And 10,000 in Toronto.
10,000
17,000 we did in Delhi.
In Delhi,
India, yeah.
In Delhi, exactly. And Mumbai,
yeah.
20 something thousand. Like
we can. There's no place in Mumbai to hold those many people, but I'm sure someday I wish I can.
Wow. Yeah. So the numbers, I mean, his fan base is massive. He's so loved in India. And the last thing I mentioned, because to the proper introduction, is what's so special about Zakir is he does his stand-up comedy in Hindi. And that is by choice. He wanted to sort of speak to the heart of his people. And he does a show that sometimes it could be as long as 3.5 hours and takes his whole audience on a journey. And he's one of the best storytellers. So with that,
oh my God, it's too much of pressure. I think I am not that great.
No, really.
I'm trying to be somebody that great. I am trying to be someone who can live by that introduction.
No, you are.
But
here's another thing. And this is said by a lot of your fans at my shows. So I'm doing my shows and a lot of Indians coming to my shows, which makes me so flattered that I have a new audience that's discovering me. And what a lovely people. They're giving me so much love. And I talked to you about this in length. So a lot of the Indians that they meet me, I sometimes throw it in there and I go, hey, by the way, I'm friends with Zakir Khan. And they go, oh, yes, of course. And
because they think all comedians are friends with each other. And it's so nice when they think something like that, because comedians are funny. So they think about us as friends, and because they also like you, so they want all their friends to meet, and it's such a nice imaginary world they have, which they want all the comedians who they like are funny to be together all the time and be friends, and it's so nice and warm for the fans to think. So when I put a story with you, like when we were driving and you tagged me in one of your stories and I reshared it, I can't imagine the amount of people who messaged me, oh my God, in what world both these people, like there are a lot of Iranis who live in India and they must be following your Parsi page and your work through their social media, and they live in India, so they follow me. And when they see you with me, when they saw that we are hanging out together, it just delights them. It just makes them so happy, and that is so endearing to me as an artist. And it just tells that how important it is as people, as artists, to collaborate and to reach out to people who are not from the same realm, from same universe. And I think it was very lucky of us to be connected, and somehow, and thanks to social media, to be very honest, that it was so easy. Just to send a text and then we could connect.
I have to say, fans love to see comedians together, right? And they go, oh my God, this guy is so funny. That guy is so funny. They're going to get together. They're going to laugh. They have the best time. I want to be in the presence of these two guys. They're cracking so many jokes. Now, in reality, I want you to know, when most comedians get together, they're not laughing the whole time. As a matter of fact, they're having very deep conversations. And it's a lot of things. A lot of people don't, realize that about comedians. We're very observational, deep-minded people. And when we get together, we're analyzing, we're breaking things down, we're sharing thoughts and ideas. And a lot of time it's heavy conversation in a very, meaningful way. And once in a while, of course, we laugh and we're silly and stuff. But if you break it down, the dosage is not necessarily always funny. It could be at times very serious and very, very, wonderful and meaningful.
I think that is something which now, as they have more empathy towards us, they start learning and understanding. I've been very lucky that people who follow my work understand this, and I have also like sort of refrained myself from being funny off stage. Like, I don't want to live with this pressure 24/7 that, oh, I'm a comedian, I'll crack jokes.
Yeah.
I'm a comedian, come watch my show.
Yeah.
And I'm very funny on the show.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
come watch
Yeah.
me on the show. If you see me there, I will not bullshit there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're going to deliver.
Yeah, I'll deliver.
But there is an expectation.
There is an expectation.
Yeah.
And I will make sure that if you have come with the expectation of comedy, I will give you the best of my ability.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
I will make you laugh till your jaw hurts. I'll make you laugh till you're out of your breath. But also do it in my style.
Yeah.
I think I want to. I say it in English. I don't know. I say it in Hindi. But in my belief, even if I have to tell you something deeper philosophical, I would like to do it in Hindi we say this phrase, which is like an aftermint when you eat. It's a beetle leaf. So pan, we say it pan in India, and I believe that even if I have to poison somebody, I'll put it in the pan and give it to them.
Yes.
Yes. Like if I have to poison you, I will put it in a cake and give it to you. Put it in the desert and give it to you, so that you don't feel bad about it. So even if I have to do something, if I have to say something deeper to my audience, I make sure it's part of the show, and you never realize that where it is going to come from and how it's going to come from.
Well, you deliver in a smooth way, but there's definitely an expectation for comedians when they're not on stage. When fans run into them in a restaurant, at the airport, and then they want to come up to you, and they're just somehow they're expecting for you to turn around and be the funniest guy and crack jokes, and sometimes they catch you in the most stressful time. You're like, man, I'm late to my flight right now. I love you, man, but I got to go. I really try personally to be as personable as possible and look them in the eyes and connect honestly. But yeah, there is that expectation.
Yeah, there is, and I think I've been very lucky that my people who follow my work really do understand that. I was very lucky that I traveled with my grandfather, who was a popular musician, and he told me that never spoil somebody's magic, because when they see you on stage, it's very magical. To see an artist perform at the peak of their art form is so magical. To experience that as an audience is so magical. When they see you in that light, they see you forever. So when they meet you, they are not meeting you as a person, they are meeting the artist on stage. So they will meet you once in their life, right? Or at max twice in their life. So that moment for them is, so they can behave in 10 different ways, but mostly they know that this is the only moment I am getting this person, access to this person. So at times they might behave weird, but you as an artist should be very aware of the situation. That with the case with most of the comedians is that it's a talking business, it's not music. So they are listening to us, but they have never spoken back. So after years of listening to you, when they meet you, they are in the middle of a conversation. So they want to say their part. So we need to help. So that's what I do. I try to guide my people when they meet me. I try to guide them what exactly they want to say, because they are also out of their words. So I think that is something which helps them. That's how I look at it. Secondly, there is a lot of empathy in my community. I have for them and they have for me, especially to the people who follow me. They eat out of my hands, and I'm so lucky and I'm so blessed to have it. If I'm eating at a restaurant and they walk up to me, and if I say, I'm just eating it, and they wait, or they never come. Like they text me later that, oh, we saw you, thank you very much, totally understand, just have your meal. But I try to say, I try to not deny everybody. Like,
yes, I understand.
Yeah,
but
that's,
Indians
no
are
other,
very cordial
trust
community
me,
as well. They're very, very considerate in that sense. I've noticed that.
I think that is also one of the reasons that the community, my people, especially people from India, are thriving everywhere in the world. And that allows me as a comedian to travel across the world, is because they are very kind, considerate, and they adjust very easily to the situation and the place.
Okay. Can I ask you this question again based on what you just said? You said your grandfather said, don't ever spoil that magic
Yeah,
that,
he said that to
people
me.
experience on stage with you. What does that mean?
So what he told me, because he was an artist, and when people used to meet him, he used to be so warm and loving to them. And while I was his student, he was very strict to me. So I could see him switch from this to that.
Hmm.
Then I confronted him one fine day that why do you switch like that? And why are you so nice to these people when you are free? At times he's not well. At times he's suffering. He was old. So he was going through multiple ailments at the same time. But he still chose to be kinder to people, which I felt was very weird back then. And I asked him that I thought he was two-faced, to be very honest. I was like, why are you doing this? And he said that when people see you on stage, it's filled with blessing. What you do on stage is not yours. It's coming from divine. And when they see you off stage, you might not be that divine at that time. You are just a human being, but they see you that divine. They see you that divinity. Is that the right word? My English is not that great, but they see you in that light. And when you when you try to be human for them, it just breaks the spell for them. And I would rather keep it on for everybody I can.
Yeah.
Like that's how, let me put it.
No, beautiful. So what you're saying is, in order not to spoil that magic, is to be kind and loving.
Yes. So we need to plan better. We need to reach airport on time. We need to be considerate. We need to have a lot of time to people we bump into. Like that is something. So you cannot be lazy if you're popular. You cannot. Yeah. So try to be as considerate as possible, and then time will tell you, and situation will tell you how considerate you can be. A week before coming to US, I was not well, and I was traveling at the same time. And everybody I met, I told that I'm not well. And when your intent is pure, they listen to you. There's something which my father told, and I want to underline that. When my video went viral, he told me that don't act to be a good person. You will have to become a good person. If you pretend to be a good person, people will catch you. So I think that is something which in the earlier days of my career stuck with me, that I will have to be this person who is actually happy meeting people. I cannot fake it.
No, 100%. Authenticity is the most powerful tool a human can have. As an artist, when you find that authenticity, people can connect with you.
Yeah.
If you're not authentic, the connection would never be deep or long lasting. It'll be temporary as long as, people think that's what it is. And then sooner or later, it comes out exactly who you are. So I think being authentic is everything. And being authentic doesn't always mean positive. You could, have certain flaws, but as long as you're authentic and honest with who you are, I think people will know you're human and they connect to your human side. And that's so beautiful.
I think being honest is the most easy and magical thing. You just straight away say what you feel. And that's what you're taught as a comedian on stage as well. That when you're stuck, even if somebody's when you handle a heckler, and at times they are funnier. So you rather just be honest at times when you don't have a comeback. Just say that I don't have a comeback. You won.
Yeah, that's funny.
And just move on with the show, right? So being honest is a superpower. It's just you just be. It's easy and it's simple and it gets you going.
Speaking of that, give us an idea about your creative process. How do you develop your stories? Where do you draw your inspiration from in your performance?
I think I meet a lot of people, and I'm that's something which really excites me. I think I live for that. I want to do that for living all the time. Like, so there are multiple ways to do it. I think because I do a story, it's more like a film, and it is also more like what do you want to say for next 2 years? What do you want to talk about which is authentic to me and my audience both? It's a collaboration between me and them, and it's a growth between me and them. However I'm growing, they are keeping a track of it, and I am also letting them grow with me. So it's a community. It's like a community. We are all growing together. So they know what exactly happened to me 5 years back, how I'm getting out of it, what next things I want to do, and they are all part of it. So my hurdles, my stories, my past, my future, my references to my past, my learnings from my mistakes, all of that come together. All of that comes in a one show, which I decide that I want to do this. So that is one thing, that you have to pick the topic, that what exactly you want to talk about. Like for example, this time I am talking about migration. This time I've decided that I'll talk about migration because I moved from my hometown, and a lot of kids have to move from their places. And if you're not the one who has not moved, I want to tell you that you're the luckiest, to be very honest, because whatever you'll earn after moving out of your house and being displaced, it can be the most popular thing, you can be the biggest thing ever possible, but that emotional damage will not be worth it. So I am trying to convey this message in my comedy special.
Well, there's also so many lessons in there.
You learn a lot,
Yeah,
but I'm saying that at the end of the day, when you look and you count, it's not, that lesson was not required. All those learnings, we always have this option of treating our traumas as learnings, but it's a choice you make. Oh, I was fucked, but I learned a lot. It's a choice you make with yourself so that you feel better about your trauma, but actually it is trauma. It's not learning. But like humans have this habit of calling our traumas into learning. So most of the things we learn is actually trauma and not learning.
If you can heal the trauma, then you're left with the lesson. But healing traumas, that's also...
I think I can let go some of the lessons. Given a choice, I would not learn those.
Wow.
I wish I didn't learn those things. So I think that's what I decide. That's part one. Part two is I meet a lot of people, and it makes me very happy. I live for conversations. I want to talk to as many people. I don't want to see yachts. I don't want to see mountains. I don't want to see rivers, plains. I want to meet more people. I want to chat with more people. And at times people will say like, oh, don't use this joke don't say this in your comedy. I want to tell each one of them, I will never use it. I don't quote anyone. My meeting people is just a big research of how humans feel about everything. It's my personal research which I'm doing. I talk about feelings converted into stories, and then stories have characters which might feel the exact same thing I picked from you. So their words might be different, but the feeling is same. And when I say that, you automatically connect. So it's a longer process. It takes a time. It takes a while. It takes me 6-8 months for me to develop a show. But when it happens, oh boy, Max, I can't tell you how magical it is.
Wow.
It's like an orchestra. You have people in your hands, and they listen to you like you're reading some gospel, and they react to each word, your smallest of pause, your fumbles. Like they want to know everything you've said between the lines. At the end of the show, I always aspired, and I'm sort of reaching there. I will not say I have reached there. That I always wanted a show should feel very fulfilling. Like some knots of your heart should be released. Something you should like, you should be in a better place after a show. And that is why my motive is, I chase feeling. I am I'm very sure of my comedy. I can make you laugh, whatever. That's a secondary part. But I need to get the emotion right. And that's where the magic lies. Comedy with emotion is what will make them remember you. Funny will never stay. But comedy with emotions, exact amount of emotions, exact amount of truth, exact amount of confrontation makes you remember. What a lot of comedians don't realize is they want to outsmart, they want to continuously do misdirections, right? Which is funny, which is very smart writing at times, but your audience never trusts you with a statement. Like in an hour, there could be 5 different jokes of misdirections, but I cannot trust you with any statement when you do it for full 1 hour.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've been observing here while watching comedy in US, that they are so obsessed with misdirection joke that every line, and then when I hear them talk about that, oh, I don't understand what's working, what's not working, why I'm not getting views on my reels, it's because they're failing to trust you. So I think that is trust component is very important, and that is something which is a major part of a building of a show. And I think when that happens, I'm ready with the show. So mostly it's that.
Yeah. Well, the trust component comes when an audience knows who you are. If they think they know you, then they can trust you. But if they don't know you, there's nowhere there's nothing to draw from, right?
But I have this thing. That's why my shows are long. Because 70% people who come for my show are people who ardently follow me, and 30% of them have no clue who I am, and they've just come that what is the hype about. And being a popular comedian, that's the curse you face all the time when you're on stage. That continuously people want to find, it's an Urdu phrase, I'm paraphrasing, that people want to find insects in the fireflies. I know this it's an insect, it's like, right, they don't want to see the magic of that firefly, right?
It's true.
So for those people, story has such a magical power that I see them sitting like this, I see them judging. I have a lot of artist friends who come for the show, and they're analyzing all the while that what is the joke I'm using, what is the direction I'm taking with the joke, or what route I took to have this joke landed in this way. And they're just reading in the beginning of the show, but that's the best part of the story. That's storytelling is basically inviting everybody in your bus initially. So that's why my first half an hour is just pure jokes. It's just trying to, it's bringing in everybody in. It just slowly, gradually, it's like, come, it's okay. It's like, just sit, you'll have a good time. Come.
You kind of ease into it.
You bring them in, you make them comfortable.
Yes.
And once you get the grip of them, then you can take that bus anywhere. You can take it in the space, you can take it to the moon, you can take it to the oceans, you can do anything with that bus. But you need to trust. It's exactly like movies. Like when the hero enters a story, most of us are thinking that, I don't think so. Does that even happen to anyone? Like, oh my God, it's like these, I don't know, there's no good movies these days. Like, you're just continuously analyzing, you're actualizing what is happening. You don't even agree with the character in the beginning. And then by the end of the movie, that person is dying or winning yours, because now you're on the bus with them. So that's the magic of storytelling. And I think I have the comfort and luxury, because I'm a storytelling comedian. I get to do that.
I love that, buddy. I want to talk about work ethic.
Yes.
And a lot of people, I think, see comedians specifically because we go on stage and we perform, and they go, "Oh, that's an easy job." And I think a lot of people don't understand that 98% of what happens off stage is hard work, and it's not the most easiest lifestyle. For that 2% opportunity in our lives that we're in front of our audience and we're connecting and having an incredible magical moment. And I want to talk about your work ethic and how is your life off stage, and what is your work off stage like?
I don't know. I think it's everybody else's. I'm very blessed that I have reached here. I am the first person in my generations of my lineage to have the popularity and prosperity at the same time. The money I have, and that is something which pushes me so much that I want to work 24/7. I really want to make the most out of it. God has given me this opportunity, and I am very thankful for this opportunity, and I want to reach to the every corner of the world. I want to reach to the every something my father told me when I was young, that you're going to be very big, and he's never told me how and how much. So I am working hard every day till the time my father tells me that that you're good.
You're good.
He's he's not gonna, and I don't see him saying that to me for a while. So I am pushing myself very much. So that is one. That's the ethic part of it. That's the primary statement. Secondary is, I think as a stand-up comedian, one thing is touring. I think for people who are pursuing comedy, either in Hindi, English, or in Farsi, should know this. As a comedian, one thing is touring, but touring is just the part of it. You do it either on TikTok or Instagram. They don't dictate your life or your comedy or your art. You are an artist. They all are platform. They are not personally designed to stop your growth. They are a platform, and you as an artist should understand and tweak your art in a way that you can use that platform for your benefit, rather than being stuck and
becoming a slave to the part.
It's not about becoming a slave to the part. It's about that platform is not your parents. That platform is, why are you arguing with it? It's a company based somewhere in the world who's just trying to get more people on the platform. Just see what they're trying. Just see what you have, which is palatable for this, and just get on it. Are you trying to tell me that you can't write a joke for a minute? Like, then why are you calling yourself comedian? If you don't have a bit for a minute, like, just write a bit for that, and it will help you.
Yeah,
it will really help you. So, okay, I think I don't want to talk about this, anyways. But
no,
so first part is that touring is number one part. If you ever get popular, that is something which you will have to do, and it's very important for you to be on stage. Try to be on stage as at least more than 100 days, which is almost 10 days in a month. Types more than 100 days, be on stage. Then second part is that you will get a lot of brand work through your social media. Build your audience in a way that they respect when you do a brand work, rather than you being an antagonist who's just trying to mint money. Earning money is not a wrong thing, and it's like, be respectful to the brands you're working with. For that, you need to choose what are the kind of brands you need to work with. You should be okay ethically working with them in most cases, unless they are paying hefty amount of money, and that depends on your necessity and your need. That's ethic is something which you have to deal personally. But be very. It's like going to a restaurant. The restaurant might have the most amazing pizza, but if they throw you the pizza, I don't think so you would like to take it. Especially when brands are spending money to convey a message from their side to your audience. You need to be respectful to this transaction.
Absolutely.
You need to convey the brand's message with respect.
Yes.
And also respect your audience by adding up a lot of content in that piece.
Beautifully said. Yeah.
There is only one fair dealing in the world which is win-win. Rest everything is scam. Don't scam the brand, neither scam your audience.
Yeah,
When you
absolutely.
make both of them win, you automatically win. Brand will be happy because you got a lot of engagement. People will be happy. They will be okay with you having a brand, but because you gave them content, and this just overall makes you a better artist, a better writer. It just pushes you to be better. Like, so that's something which you need to deal with. I have a fiction show which has been in the third season. We have 7 writing rooms running right now. We are writing a couple of films, 3 more shows, and 2 more seasons of our existing shows. I have a podcast. And apart from all of this, we need to decide how we're going to tour nationally, internationally. So these are the things which take my day. And that is, I get up at, I start my work in India because in India, everything starts late. I start my work at 11. And I think I've also realized that people who work with you, you have to be very kind and patient with them because they are also trying to help you. So you need to be kind to them. You need to help them in making you grow.
So you wake up at 11 o'clock
No. I start working at 11 o'clock. I wake up at 9
a.m.
a.m.
Oh, the way you said it, I thought you were going to say I wake up at 6 a.m. or something.
No. I wake up at 9 and I start
Okay, so
working
we're
at
at
11. I
11.
need 2 hours to myself, first of all. I just need 2 hours of solace. I need 2 hours to myself. It will take me 2 hours to reboot this system and get to the world.
That's
It takes me
awesome.
2 hours.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I want to talk about certain non-industry topics.
Okay.
I want to give you my observation as a non-Indian. If I have to say one attribute of your people that I would say the highest, best compliment I can give Indians is that generalizing, I think Indians are very humble people.
Yep.
I think they're very culturally, accustomed to be down to earth, very humble, not so loud, not flashy. Generalizing, most Indians have this quality, which is very beautiful. But in a country like America or certain Western cultures, when you are under the radar and you're not, speaking up so much about, promoting yourself or like, walking into a room in some sort of a bang scenario, you're underestimated. You're not taken seriously. And some of these people walk into a, lobby of a hotel and this Indian guy is a billionaire or he's a CEO of like a massive company or some like genius who just invented something. He walks in and nobody even acknowledges the guy because he's so humble and he walks a very down to earth sort of vibe and energy. That's a beautiful thing. And sometimes I look at this scenario and it bothers me when people don't acknowledge this or they take certain people for granted. And it makes you kind of feel like, man, this is not okay. Yeah. Anyways, that's a generalization I just made.
Yeah.
I just pretty much want to say that's something I admire in Indians.
Thank you very much. I'll take that for all of my people. But yeah, you were saying something. What happened today?
Today, I go to my hotel's restaurant to have breakfast, and I'm sitting at a table. A family of Indians come, husband and wife and their son. Adorable. They walk in. And the hostess walks in and goes, hi, okay, here, this is your table. Please have a seat here. And the lady, the Indian lady, she goes, I'm watching this. And she, with a very sweet demeanor, she goes, okay, is it possible we take this table? Both table, 4-seater, right next to each other. Restaurant empty. And the lady pauses and she goes, no, that one is reserved for someone else. You should sit here.
I know that.
And instantaneously, I mean, if this story didn't unfold properly, I will tell you it was such an obvious scenario that this lady just said, sit here and that's it.
Yep.
And didn't remotely take these people seriously, or I don't want to necessarily say racism, but it sort of had an element of racism. And
Why would you
say that?
refrain from saying that? It is racism.
It is, because if it was another sort of type or vibe of people, she most likely would have said, okay, sure, please have a seat here. But it just customed or programmed in this person's head to say, no, sit here. Yeah.
I know these people.
And so they sat down. It bothered me. And I'm looking at the wife. The wife looks at the husband, and they're in their own little world. And I don't know what she's saying, but I'm assuming they're talking about this. And she goes, and then she turns and she looks at me, and I just go like this. And she locks eyes, and I go, that wasn't cool. We know this table is not reserved. Who reserves a table at 8 a.m. in a restaurant, in a hotel restaurant?
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is the most obvious scenario. And she smiled and she goes, yeah, it just felt a little rude. And the way she said that, my heart just melted, man. And my heart melted. And they were so humble. They were so nice. And what did they do? I thought to myself, man, now my brain is just, I'm like, I got to go tell this lady, what is wrong with you? Like, I have this major thing in me that I like to stand for justice. Okay. And when I see somebody bully someone, or somebody does something wrong to someone, or I acknowledge that, I feel like it's my duty to sort of like speak my voice. Otherwise, I'm a coward. I was raised like this. My father was the same way. Yeah. And a lot of times my dad would put himself in such troubled scenario. My mom go, what is your business? He's like, but how can I not say anything about this? So we sort of have this in our DNA. And I see this situation breaks, and now I'm fuming. I'm like, I got to go up to this hostess and say, hey, what are you doing? And I wouldn't do it in a way to embarrass her, but in a way that maybe her light bulb will go on.
Yep.
How do you know? Like, you should never treat anybody this way, no matter who they are. So I'm having this thing build up, and I see, the waitress comes, and the husband and the wife with such gentle, soft tone of voice. They just said, and by the way, we requested if we can sit on this table right here, like right next to it. And the hostess denied us, and I just felt a little rude, and it bothered me. I felt a little offended. And the waitress said, okay, no problem. I'll definitely address it. Thank you so much for mentioning. Okay, no problem. And they continue with their breakfast. Now, I'm thinking, sitting there going, that was so beautiful, because if it was me, I would have ruined my day. I wouldn't want to react to that. And I'm not sure if my reaction to address and confront that would really, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's a more proper thing, or what she just did. And it kind of just said it and then let it go, And it was such a impactful sort of interaction that it stayed with me half of the day. And I'm sure you experience this a lot.
Yeah, I do experience a lot. I fly first class, and I have realized something when you travel to UK, US, and Australia especially. If you're flying first class, you have to dress up if you're a person of color. Like only white people get to be in their pajamas and also fly in first class. Otherwise, if you're a person of color, you will have to be well dressed if you're flying first class. On my previous trip, I was coming from San Francisco to Miami, I think. And this is something which happened a couple of times. I observed, but I did not say anything. This time when I was keeping my luggage, this lady, this air hostess, she held my hand and turned it to see whether I'm keeping my luggage on my seat or not, or whether I'm flying first class or not. It has multiple layers to it. There must be other people who have kept their luggage in the empty blocks, but I'm sure there's a context to her behavior as well. But at the same time, there was this old white lady. She was also trying to stop me from doing that. It was all happening together. Like, you cannot keep your luggage here. Hello, gentlemen, you cannot keep your luggage here. And I'm like, this is my seat. And the air hostess goes like, this is not your seat. The hostess was very lucky, to be very honest, at the restaurant which you were at. If she would have done with me, I would have fixed her for life. I want to tell you very clearly that this decade is India decade, and this decade is India decade in this country. We are not somebody. We are going to be more assertive. My people are going to be more assertive. We are already there. We have our feet in places. We don't fuck around. We mean business, and we are not taking this shit anymore. And in coming years, you will see Indian people being respected, given more space, because we deserve that space. We have earned that space. And I don't know about others, but I am fully game for this battle if it is there any.
Explain that to me. What does
I'll
that
tell you,
mean?
I'll tell you what happened. And then she turned me, and then I just confronted her point blank. You have a problem with an Indian person traveling in first class. And the moment you say that, suddenly they're like, oh, why would I say that? Why would I have a problem with it? And I can see that in their eyes. And then while I was sitting there, all the flight, I just did this to her. For good 1.5 hours. Each time when she looked at me, I was like, I ruined her day. I know. But I'm saying that I at times I understand there a lot of people, their thank yous and their sorries are different when they are talking to us. Our accent is not the same, and language is such a beautiful thing. How people talk in Texas is not the same as how people talk in New York. There is a difference of context in the language.
Yeah.
Right. There is a local dialect. There's a lot to a language. Of what I have learned, how my native language is, how we pronounce words, and just, I don't think so it is funny. Dialects are not funny. Pronunciations going wrong is not wrong. It's not about my education. It is not your definition of pronunciation of a word will not define my education and my personality. So that is one part of it. Second part of it is that Indians have made a lot of space in this country and world over. We have really worked hard. We have adjusted in every different culture of whatever this globe can offer. You go to any country, even to the darkest corner, to the brightest corners, to the most underdeveloped country, to the most developing countries, you'll still find an Indian restaurant, an Indian guy working somewhere, having a business, running it for himself. So that is something which somehow, and I'm not somebody who can take guarantee of everybody from India, but this is something which I have noticed, and being from the same land just makes me feel connected to all those people. That is one part. Another part is that, especially since the internet has opened, we have all learned the power of our existence. See, 20 years back, when the world was not open, we were also unaware how much soft power as people, as let me bring everybody in, like Desi people from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, we held a lot of power. I don't think so we had any clue about it. Now when we know, I don't think so my people should be taking these things lying down.
It's also a community decision. It's like people like you who have a voice, who have a stage. If this is something you talk about and you motivate your people, then one by one, these community figures motivate people to speak up for themselves. And again, there's a difference between speaking up for yourself and attacking people.
We are not here to attack. We are here to work. We are here to work. We are here to make a lot of money, and we will pay a lot of tax. So we are sure of what we are doing it. But we treat everybody with respect. My culture teaches me to respect everybody, and I expect the same out
And I
of
think
you
that's the
as well.
power.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
the
the
power.
power. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys are very lucky that you already sort of have this engraved in you, and you're approaching things from a really wonderful place, and you're correcting people and confronting people from the right angle. And when you do that, you actually make the world respect you, and you don't give them an excuse to hide their behavior over your behavior. So with the way you approached that lady, the way you said what you said, it made her think. It made her realize, maybe I did, treat this person differently because I assumed he would not be
I
in
think that
first
is something
class.
which comes with a lot of cultural context.
Yeah.
Behavior is so much has to do with where you have come from, what is the geography, history of that geography, and that just that gets ingrained in your DNA and your behavior. Uh, if you see the spiritual legacy of my country has been so huge,
Yeah.
and from there has been so many different sects of spiritual gurus who've been just teaching patience to us. There's so much of emphasis in our upbringing to be more patient and easy with people. And there is so much of competition because there is so much of population. There is equal amount of competition, there's equal amount of rat race, and there is a spiritual side, which is the legacy of the country, which is I think the spiritual currency we hold for over the year. That's our cultural heritage we have. And together, when it becomes a cocktail of power which the world is observing right now, and it has been brewing from last at least 60-40 years. And finally you can see the color. There was a first generation which came to US, which was doctors and engineer. Then the second generation came, which became the taxi drivers, the Uber drivers, and now the time is the generation of my age people, my friends who are coming here. You know what? They are so good at their job. They are so comfortable with what they do. Half of them don't even speak English. Their bosses are Indians. They are Indian. They live in Indian community settlements. They eat Indian food. They have so much of assurance of, they are so sure of their jobs. They're the best at what they do. They are so sure of their jobs. They're so secure at what they're doing. They own their place. They live like that. So the generation one builds something for the generation two. The generation two has built something for generation three. And when this generation has come here, everybody from my generation is more assertive. Everybody from my generation is more comfortable and secure. And I think that's the magic everybody will be seeing in next decade. And that's where I would like to sum this up again, that when I say that it is going to be an India decade, and that's why I say that.
I love that. I love that you say that, and I love that you put it out there, because it's important. It inspires Indians, and it inspires other ethnic people to be motivated by other great energies from other cultures that are coming together to be a force in the world. I love that. I sincerely love that, and I just think, in general speaking, like you said, this is the Indian, the next decade, it's the Indians' world. I think overall we can say the ethnic background people are really finally coming up in different places, whether they're Chinese, Korean, Iranian, whatever background, now, because of the world becoming smaller with social media,
Sure.
people becoming more aware of one another. Now we're seeing and respecting different qualities in different places in the world. So everybody's shining in their own way.
I mean, like, it makes me so happy. Like, that's what I do in India as well. India is multicolored. Every state is different. Every state speaks different language. And I respect the law of land. I want to meet the best artist.
Beautiful.
When I go to Punjab, it's a state in India which has the biggest pop scene in our region. Like a country which is our music is so much dominated by Bollywood that no other music scene has enough legs to stand in front of it. But Punjabi music has been existing for years and years and years, and Bollywood looks up to Punjabi music. Punjabi music has been providing music so much to Bollywood. When I go to Punjab, I meet every artist. I love meeting them. That's my way of treaty. That's my way of showing respect. Especially in arts, my awareness of Max Amini existing is because of internet and the world becoming smaller.
Yeah.
And if I have awareness and I don't acknowledge, what am I even doing? So this is the magic of internet, and this is the magic of world being opened.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when the world is opened, world is but naked right now. So you can exactly see what is what and what exactly you want.
Yes, and I will say, I want to add something to this. Cultures and countries that are open to other cultures and countries, they're going to evolve and have a much faster progress than others. If you're really closed and you're not open to take in other people's art, other people's music, other people's philosophy of life, other people's spiritual teachings, then you're really shorthanding yourself. You're really not, helping your community to see things from different perspectives and grow. It's beautiful to see how Indians are so open to other artists and art forms, and naturally they're so loving.
In our land, there are so many. There's a Tamilan culture, there's a Kannadiga culture, there is a Telugu culture. These are all films, by the way.
Massive diversity
Massive
within
diversities
the country.
in the languages, in the people, in the behavior, in the practices, in the food. There's so much of diversity right there.
So the program
is that know that there is somebody, like what happens to a lot of English-speaking countries, that you don't even know that there are other language people exist in the world for like a big part of their life. They are unaware.
Well, we can say this. We can say Europe also has this quality, because you have these amazingly different cultures, languages, very close proximity to one another. So you got Germany, France.
I think you can say that India England is Europe of Asia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's exactly same. You can travel that's what we say in India. That's like a proverb. It's a saying in India is like, that every 5 miles, the taste of the water and the taste sound of the tongue changes.
Wow.
So like, for example, I know exactly how a language moves from, let's say, Marathi, where I live in Mumbai, and how it becomes, I can see that flow of language, how it becomes a Sindhi, and then it moves to Dari, and then it moves to Farsi. And how that flow happens, how a Marathi translates into a Malvi, and a Malvi translates into, one sect goes to Marwari, and another branch goes to Gujarati, and how a Gujarati translates to Marwari, and a Marwari translates to Haryanvi, a Haryanvi translates to Punjabi. Like, I can see how it's the movement, the transfer of dialect is happening. So that is something which is part of the land, and I have been lucky enough to travel in my country. I can say this very proudly that I have traveled.
I think we're under arrest right now. You hear the siren?
I have my papers. Tell me about you.
Oh man, beautiful, buddy, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Tell me something about Iran. Like, we have a lot of Irani people, by the way. My best friend is Irani. She does all my clothes. Whatever, if I'm looking fine in any of my pictures, it's all because of her. And a lot of my friends are from Iran. We have a big culture in India of Irani cafes.
Yes.
We have a
Yes.
lot of Irani cafes.
Yes.
And so the place where I used to live in Mumbai used to have an Irani cafe right opposite, and it served the best food. I don't even know if you are aware of this, but in India, Irani chai is very popular.
Yes.
The
Yes.
tea.
Yes.
Yeah. So you tell me, what is your connection with India and how do you know?
Well, I would say what Iran shares in common in the way you explain about India is that we also are it's a country that at all times there are different season in different parts of the country. So you see completely different type of languages, demographics of Iranians living in the same country. So there is such a beautiful love and respect for different cities with their different sort of food and dance, and we're so different, but yet we're the same country. So we share that in common. But I would say, if I have to say something about Iran that personally I would say is the most powerful essence of this land, is the spirituality, the history of spirituality in Iran, where Rumi and Hafez and Sadi, and I feel like that's what makes Iranians special, is this beautiful, legendary of life lessons that has come from these beautiful names, and every father and grandfather has recited these beautiful poetries for their kids and passed down these philosophies, and that's what makes us, I think, a rich culture.
True.
And I'm sure you can relate to this as an Indian, when you talk about spirituality and how that is a point of power for Indians. I feel like that is the most powerful common sort of thing that I can talk about here. And I truly will tell you, the more we practice this magnificent treasure that our ancestor have left for us, the more the more powerful, the more comfortable, the more happily we will live. We have such an incredible jewel that is gifted to us.
That I just want to add something for the audience here. While you're listening to this, you might be thinking that I am very spiritual or Max is very spiritual. Though we might not be that spiritual, to be very honest, we are no godmen. But I want to tell you that you might also. Here, I just want to cut you and just add something right now. Is that a lot of people listening to me in Iran and listening to Max in India, while this conversation is going on, must be thinking that, oh, I don't follow Rumi that much, or must be thinking that, oh, I'm not that spiritual right now. What culture provides you, and what most of us are unaware, that that cultural currency is so much ingrained in your upbringing and the conversations and everything, that you don't even know how that has impacted the things your teachers say, the things your parents tell you to do, the things naturally, automatically, a person on the street will randomly say to you, is all part of the spiritual cultural legacy we have built in. You don't have to read a scripture for it. You don't even have to go to a mosque to pray, or to a mandir, or to a church. It is all become the folklore and the part of everybody's daily conversation. So you might not feel that spiritual about it, but you're still part of that realm.
Absolutely. So beautifully said. That's the gift that we have coming from this land. Yeah. And everybody that's why I always encourage people, be proud of where you come from. Because if you look into your culture and your background, you find something incredibly valuable. Now, for us Iranians, when I say this is something that I'm so proud of, the spirituality and the teachings and the poetry, and that's our treasure, is because every time in my own personal life, I've had a massive complex scenario, and I've been able to utilize this sort of philosophies of life. It's helped me solve my problems and be able to do better in life and feel better. So that's how I am so grateful and appreciative to this background and this culture. And so I will strive to be able to dive deeper into this as I get older and learn more about it. And I'm in no shape or form saying that I'm a godly person or a spiritual person in a highly levels. No, I'm just saying these tools are there for us to use and benefit from.
This availability of knowledge and access to these ideas is something which makes your life very rich. And I think that is something which is very common, and you're so right, is so common between Iran and India.
Yeah, because you guys have such a rich history when it comes to Hinduism, meditation, and the monks, the way they live. I mean, gosh, what I believe is Indians have been able to preserve these lifestyles and these philosophies better than so many other countries in the world that they also come from very spiritual backgrounds. But your country has been able to keep this custom, even wearing the outfits, and the Sikhs wearing the turbans and living by their philosophies. They really have stuck to it, even in when they have migrated to Western countries in different parts of the world. They still keep so much to their custom and culture. And a lot of people that are ignorant, they don't understand it. So they go, what is this? And they'll
Isn't that very important for a person's personality to cling on to their culture? It gives you a lot of mental satisfaction. It gives you mental emotional grounding when you are still connected to your roots, regardless to your location, because you cannot reach somewhere when you don't know where you have started from. And I think that is something Indians are very good at,
Yes.
is to always remember where they started from.
Yes.
And that's the power. That's the power we hold, that most of the people who live away still have a house in India and still try to go back to their roots, regardless to wherever they are in the world. And at the same time, talking about the multicultural part, the diversity, and protecting it over the years, it's been part of my learning as well, because I went to a Christian missionary school, a proper Catholic school, and we prayed to Jesus and Mother Mary till I was 17.
Wow.
Coming from a Muslim household, living with most of the Hindus, I, at a very young age, knew that there will be multiple people who will be worshipping multiple gods. Even in Hinduism, there's so much of diversity of choice they have, that they can pray to whoever they want. They can choose their God and be their devotee. And what religion does to all of us is gives a lot of grounding. I think culturally, it just makes more easier.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as, religion is a fascinating topic and it's very complex. But my thing is, as long as people can achieve the true acceptance of other people praying and having a belief in religion of their choice, and be in absolute respect and acceptance of that, they have achieved such a magnificent part of humanity.
I think we have reached end of this discussion. It's now we'll start slipping.
No,
Yeah.
I tell you, you and I can talk for hours.
Hours and hours.
Who thought when I first met you, it's going to be an all-day conversation?
So I'll tell you what happened. So Max met me at the airport. I was waiting for him at the belt. Then he was like, "Hey man, my car is here," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll also call my Uber." And he was like, "Oh, by the way, if you want to, do you want to ride?" He said that, "Do you want to ride?" I was like, "Okay, might as well." And then we sat in his car. He said that, "Let's go for lunch first." Then we went for the lunch. I think we had a good meal. We spoke for hours and hours and hours. And then I don't think so we were still done. So then we came to his office, which was here, and I remember I landed at 10:30 in the morning, and I reached my hotel by 6:30.
Yeah.
So
It was an all day.
It was
beautiful.
8 hours straight.
Yeah.
love at first sight affair. I think that is
Yes,
something.
we call it the bromance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's why I told you that it was very romantic when I saw you for the first time. It's like, yeah, big smile. Yeah, I'm waiting for you. Why are you not coming? Like,
Buddy,
nice.
I'm so grateful for this sit down, and let's do it more often.
I think
You
I'm
know,
sure we'll do it again when I'm back
We
back in
should
US.
catch up every once in a while.
Yes.
And share, where we've been and what's happening, what's on our minds, because I not only enjoyed this, but I think I'm learning so much listening to you, and I think it's such a valuable
And it's been
to
such
share.
a pleasure to be here on this podcast and to meet you and to have your company. I'm very honored right now.
Thank you,
very
buddy.
much.
I love you, man.
Love you too. Bro.
Cheers.
Cheers.